It was a quiet night on the outer edge of human space. A small ship floated near a red moon, its lights blinking slowly. Inside the ship, Nathan Cole leaned back in his chair. He was tired. The mission was supposed to be simple: scan the region, report any unknown signals, and return. But something strange had pulled him deeper into space. Nathan was alone, as always. He preferred it that way. After years in the fleet, he had learned to trust only himself. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the screen. A new signal blinked. Again and again, it was not human. It was not from any known ship or base. It was old, strong, and full of strange symbols. He sat up straight and began decoding it. The message repeated every 10 seconds. As the symbols changed, a shape appeared. On the screen, a massive ship, black and silver, shaped like a blade. It drifted in space, cold and silent. Nathan opened the comms and sent a standard greeting. No answer? He tried again, this time using an older alien protocol. A few seconds passed, and then his ship shook. Something had pulled him in. Lights inside his ship flickered. Nathan reached for his controls, but nothing responded. His ship was being pulled toward the alien vessel. His heart pounded. He had no weapons ready, no backup, no. Warning. The ship connected with a soft thud. The airlock door opened slowly. Nathan grabbed a small blaster and walked forward. He didn't like surprises, but he had no choice. He stepped into the alien ship. The walls were smooth and glowing. The air smelled like spices and metal. The hallway was empty, but he felt eyes on him. Something watched. A voice echoed through. The hallway, it was smooth, calm, and powerful. Human pilot. You're not a threat. You are welcome. Nathan didn't relax. He kept walking until he entered a large chamber. In the center stood a tall figure. She had dark violet skin, long silver hair, and golden eyes that glowed in the dim light. She wore armor made of black plates that shimmered as she moved. Looked like royalty. I am Queen Valera, she said, her voice carrying across the room. Nathan blinked. A queen? Out here? You sent a signal, he said. I followed it. I did, she said with a small smile. I wanted someone to find me. Nathan raised a brow. You wanted help? She walked down from her platform. No, I wanted a change. He didn't understand. You're a queen. Why would you want change? Because I'm tired, she said simply. Of war, of politics, of being alone. Nathan said nothing. This was not what he expected. She studied him. You came here with no army, no threats. Just curiosity. That is rare. I was just doing my job, Nathan replied. Exactly, she said. You do what you must, and you don't pretend to be more. He looked around. So, what now? She tilted her head. You made no demand, no threat, no offer. But your eyes say you came here to find meaning. He frowned. I came here by accident. The queen laughed softly. Nothing is an accident, human. He crossed his arms. I suppose now I'll be your prisoner. She walked closer. No, you're free to go. Nathan didn't expect that. Really? She nodded. But before you leave, may I ask you something? Sure, he said. If I left this place, she said, if I gave up everything, would someone like you take me in? Nathan didn't know what to say. It was a strange question. She was a queen. Powerful, mysterious, and clearly not human. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. He had no good answer. I didn't mean that as a joke, she added. He scratched his neck. Well, I mean, if you ever came to Earth, I guess I could. Show you around. Help you out. Maybe even let you stay at my place. I've got a spare room. The silence that followed was long and heavy. Then she burst out laughing. Wait, was that an offer? She said between laughs. All right, I accept. Nathan stared. Wait, What? You offered me a place. You offered kindness. That is more than I've had in years. I was just being polite, he muttered. But it was honest, she said. He looked at her again. She wasn't joking. She had made her choice, and just like that, his quiet mission became something much bigger. Nathan did not know how to respond. The alien queen, tall and proud, still stood in front of him, watching him with a smile. Her words echoed in his mind. She said she accepted his offer, but he didn't think it was a real offer. Nathan cleared his throat. I think there's been a misunderstanding. I didn't mean it like that. Valera raised one eyebrow. And how did you mean it? I was just being polite. I didn't think you would actually, come to Earth. She walked slowly around him, calm and graceful. I have ruled an empire for many years. I have met many warriors, many kings, many liars, but you, Nathan, are honest. You did not lie to impress me. You did not act like you were better. You are simple. I like that. He scratched the back of his head. Simple? That's not exactly a compliment. But it is, she said. You're not trying to win. You're just trying to live. Nathan sighed. All right, but seriously, if you really want to come to Earth, it's not that easy. You'll need clearance, documents, maybe even quarantine. And how would I explain you to people? I can. Appear human if I must, she replied. Really? He asked. Valera nodded. She touched a small device on her wrist. A second later, her purple skin faded to a warm brown color. Her glowing eyes became soft and human-like. Her armor changed into a long gray coat with a hood. Nathan stepped back. That's impressive. I've had time to prepare, she said. So you really plan to leave? He asked. Yes, she answered. Long ago, I sent the signal. I hoped someone would follow it. But only a human would come alone, curious but not greedy. Nathan looked down. You're right about one thing. I didn't come here for gold or glory. I came because I had nothing better to do. And now, she said softly, you do. Nathan looked at her again. She was still tall, still regal, even with her new human form. Her voice was kind but firm. She meant every word she said. You really want to go with me? He asked. Yes, she said. You offered me a place. I will take it. Nathan looked back at the hallway. Then we better get out of here before I change my mind. They walked back toward his small ship. As they entered, the door closed behind them with a hiss. He sat in the pilot's seat, and she took the second chair. She looked at everything with quiet interest. This ship is small, she said. It's all I've got, he replied. I like it, she said. He started the engines. The alien vessel released them without a fight. As they pulled away, Nathan looked at the dark ship through the window. Are you sure you're ready to leave it all behind? He asked. Yes, she said. That ship was a prison. You are my escape. Nathan shook his head. That's a lot of pressure. You will survive it, she said with a smile. He gave her a sideways look. I'm just a guy with a worn-out ship and an old jacket. You are more than that, she said. You are the first person who looked at me and didn't see power or fear. You saw a person. Nathan didn't answer. He just stared at the stars ahead. Hours passed as they traveled back toward human space. They didn't speak much. Valera sat quietly, watching everything, asking simple questions now. And then Nathan answered as best as he could. He didn't know how to act around a queen. Finally, she stood and walked to the back of the ship. She looked at a small window and said, I wonder what your world smells like. Smells like dust, fuel, and old coffee. Nathan said from the front. She smiled again. Perfect. But the journey would take another day. Nathan set the course and leaned back in his chair. He felt strange. A part of him still believed this was all a dream, but it wasn't. The alien queen had chosen him, and soon he would bring her to Earth. Logan walked through the tall stone gates of the Cirith Palace, feeling the tension all around him. He noticed that some of the guards looked at him with suspicion, and even some of the human team did not seem happy with how close he had become to Queen Ireline. Every time he passed a group of Cirith nobles, their quiet whispers stopped, and their eyes followed him until he was gone. Logan tried to ignore it. He was here to help make peace, not start trouble. That morning, Queen Ireline sent for him again. A young Cirith servant with silver hair led him down twisting halls filled with bright flowers and strange paintings. When they reached a quiet garden, Ireline was waiting for him alone. She stood by a clear pool, her eyes on the water. Logan waited until she spoke. "Do you know why I brought you here?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, but I am ready to listen." Ireline smiled. "You listen better than most. My own counsel never truly hears me." She turned to face him. "Today I want to show you something special. My world is more than what you see in these halls." They left the palace together in a small craft, flying over shining lakes and wide forests. Logan watched the world pass below, seeing farms and villages and Cirith people going about their lives. Ireline told him stories about her childhood, about old customs, and about times she wished she could simply walk in the sun without being followed by guards. They landed in a valley surrounded by blue trees. There was an old temple made of white stone, half covered in green vines. The air was cool and still. Ireline led Logan to a quiet bench under a tree. "My father used to bring me here when I was a child," Ireline said softly. "Before I was queen, I could run and play. I was just a girl, not a ruler. Everything changed so quickly. I never wanted to be queen so soon." Logan listened carefully. He saw now that Ireline was more than just a strong leader. She was someone who carried a heavy weight every day. He understood a little bit. Even though he was not a leader, he also felt pressure from his own people. Some humans on the envoy team had warned him not to get too close to the queen. They said he was risking their whole mission. Some thought he was being foolish. He looked at Ireline. "I know what it feels like when others only see your title or your job. Back on Earth, some people think I am strange for loving languages. They think I should care more about business or power. But I care about connection, about understanding." Ireline smiled for the first time that day. "That is rare among the powerful. That is why I brought you here. I want you to see me, not just the queen." They spent the day walking the valley. Ireline showed him how the Cirith honored the spirits of the land by laying flowers on the stones. Logan joined her, learning each simple gesture. When the sun began to set, they sat on the grass and watched birds fly overhead. The moment felt peaceful and honest as the stars began to appear. Ireline said, "Logan, you are different from the others. You do not just ask questions. You listen to answers. That is why I trust you." Logan felt a strange warmth in his chest. "I am glad. I hope we can show our people that trust is possible." But back at the palace, not everyone felt the same way. Some Cirith nobles met in secret rooms, worried about the queen's interest in the human. They saw Logan as a threat to their old ways. One noble, a tall man named Havin, whispered to the others, "If the queen lets this human get too close, our traditions will be broken. We must watch him." On the human side, Logan's superior officer, Nora Mitchell, also watched closely. She called Logan aside when he returned. "You are getting involved, Logan," she warned. "You are risking our whole mission for one person." Logan tried to explain. "I am not here to make things worse. I just want to help them see us as friends, not just strangers." Nora shook her head. "Be careful. If things go wrong, it will not just be your problem." Logan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. That night, he could not sleep. He looked out his window at the stars over Varixa. He thought about Ireline, about her lonely strength, and about the hope he saw in her eyes when she talked of trust. He thought about Earth, and all the mistakes humans had made in the past when meeting new people. He wondered if things could be different this time. Before dawn, he made a promise to himself. He would do his best to help Ireline, not just as a queen, but as a person. Maybe, if they were brave enough, they could show both humans and Cirith a better way forward. Even if the path was full of risk, he knew he could not turn back now. When Logan returned to the palace, he noticed that everyone acted different. Some people smiled at him, but others stared with cold eyes. Logan knew that his visit with Queen Ireline had changed things. He tried to act normal, but he felt the tension in the air. He wanted to talk to Ireline again, but it was not easy. She was busy meeting her council and holding long talks with important Cirith leaders. One morning, a message arrived from Ireline's assistant. She wanted Logan to join her at a public gathering in the Central Hall. The gathering was a big event. There were Cirith nobles, leaders, soldiers, and the human envoys all together. The hall was bright, filled with music, and everyone wore special clothes for the ceremony. Logan was nervous as he walked inside. He saw Queen Ireline at the front, standing tall and proud, dressed in royal blue. She smiled when she saw him. He walked over and bowed his head the way she had shown him before. People began to whisper, but Ireline only nodded and told him to stand next to her. After a few speeches by other leaders, Ireline spoke. Her voice was clear and strong. She said that the Cirith people needed to move forward. She said they needed new friends and new ideas to help their world grow. Then she turned to Logan and looked him in the eye. In the past days, she said, I have learned that peace is possible, even when we come from different stars. Logan Price has shown respect for our ways and has listened when others only talked. He has given me hope for the future. She paused and looked at the crowd. I am thinking about accepting his offer of union, not just for myself, but as a symbol for our two peoples. There was silence, and many people started talking at once. Some Cirith nobles looked shocked. Some humans looked surprised and confused. Logan's heart pounded. He remembered the joke he made about dinner dates, and he realized that Ireline was making it public. She was turning it into something bigger. After the ceremony, Logan's superior, Nora Mitchell, took him aside. She looked upset. Logan, what did you say to the queen? Do you understand what she just did? Now the council thinks you are offering marriage or alliance. The human government will ask questions. The Cirith people will watch you every step. Logan tried to explain. I only tried to show respect. I did not plan this. It was just a joke at first. Nora shook her head. Jokes can become serious when leaders are involved. You must be careful now. We are guests here. One wrong move and we could lose everything we work for. Logan felt lost. He had only wanted to build trust, but now he was in the middle of something much bigger than himself. He walked outside to clear his mind. The garden was quiet and full of the soft sound of water. After a few minutes, he heard footsteps behind him. Ireline stood there, her eyes gentle. Are you angry at me? She asked. Logan shook his head. No, I just do not understand. Why did you do it? Why did you say it was an offer? Ireline sat beside him. I am queen, but I am also a person. My people want a leader who is strong, but they also want someone who is brave enough to hope. If I say yes to you, it means I believe in peace. It is risky, but it is my choice. Logan looked at her. But do you want this? Or do you only want to help your world? Ireline smiled. I want someone who sees me, not just my throne. I want to choose something for myself, even if it is hard. She took a deep breath. You see me, Logan, not as a queen, but as Ireline. They sat together in silence for a long time. Logan realized that Ireline was lonely, even with all the people around her. She needed a friend, someone to talk to, someone who listened. Later. That night, news spread quickly. Some Cirith nobles held secret meetings. They did not like the queen's new idea. They thought it was too risky, too strange. Some humans sent messages back to Earth, asking what to do next. The palace was full of whispers. Logan tried to rest, but his mind was full of worry. He remembered Irene's words, "I want someone who sees me." He wanted to help her, but he did not know what would happen next. He only knew that he could not run away now. The story between him and Irene was only just beginning. The stars shone over the palace. Somewhere inside, Irene looked out her window and thought about Logan. She wondered if two people from different worlds could really change the future. Neither of them knew the answer, but both were willing to try. Early in the morning, the palace was quiet. Logan woke up to a knock on his door. A Cirith guard stood outside, looking serious. He told Logan that the council wanted to see him. Logan dressed quickly and followed the guard through long stone halls. His heart beat fast in his chest. He knew something important was about to happen. The council room was wide and cold, with tall windows and shining floors. Many Cirith nobles sat in a circle, their faces hard to read. Queen Irene was there too, sitting on her throne. She gave Logan a small, encouraging smile. A noble named Haven stood up. He spoke slowly and clearly. "Logan Price, you have come from another world and captured our queen's attention. But before any union, you must prove your worth. You must complete our ancient trials." Logan nodded. He had heard of these trials before. They were very old, made to test the strength and honor of anyone who wanted to join the royal family. He looked at Irene, and she nodded back. "You do not have to do this," she whispered. "It is dangerous." Logan shook his head. "If it will help your people trust me, I will try." The first trial began that afternoon. Logan was taken to a big open field behind the palace. Many people came to watch. The Cirith guards explained the challenge. Logan had to run across the field, climb a wall, and bring back a stone from the top. It looked simple, but the wall was very high and the ground was muddy. Logan ran as fast as he could. He slipped and fell once, but he got back up and kept going. When he reached the wall, he started to climb. His hands were shaking and his legs hurt, but he did not stop. He remembered Irene's words and pushed himself harder. At last, he grabbed the stone and climbed back down. The crowd cheered, but some nobles still looked unhappy. The next day, there was another trial. This time, Logan had to face the trial of wisdom. He was taken to a small room and given 3 questions by the oldest Cirith judge. The questions were about Cirith history, traditions, and even about the meaning of peace. Logan answered honestly. He said that he did not know everything, but he was willing to learn. The judge nodded and smiled, pleased with his answers. For the last trial, Logan was brought to a quiet chamber. There was only one chair in the center and a bowl of sweet-smelling smoke. This was the vision trial. Logan sat down, closed his eyes, and breathed in the smoke. Soon he felt himself drifting. He saw flashes of his own memories, his home on Earth, his childhood, times when he had failed or felt afraid. In the vision, he saw Irene alone on her throne, and he saw himself turning away. He felt guilt and fear. He saw his parents disappointed in him, and he saw the human envoys angry because of his choices. Logan realized that his greatest fear was not the trials. It was failing those who believed in him. When the vision ended, Logan opened his eyes. He was shaking, but he understood something important. He was not perfect, but he could be brave. He could try, even when he was scared. The council met to discuss the results. Some nobles argued, saying Logan was not strong enough or wise enough. Others said he had shown true courage. Queen Irene watched quietly, her face calm but her eyes worried. Meanwhile, trouble was brewing in the palace. Some nobles wanted to stop Logan. They did not want a human close to the queen. A small group made a plan to sabotage the final ceremony. They hoped to embarrass Logan and force Irene to give up on her idea. Irene learned about the plot from her loyal servant, Myra. She knew she could not act directly, or the council would say she was breaking the rules. Instead, she sent Mira to warn Logan. That night, Mira found Logan in his room. "There are people who want to hurt you," she whispered. "Be careful tomorrow. Trust no one except the Queen." Logan thanked her. He did not sleep well that night. He thought about his family, about Earth, about all the risks. He thought about Ireline's trust and the hope she placed in him. The next morning, the palace was full of excitement. People talked about the trials, about Logan, and about what would happen next. Logan stood in front of the council one last time. He spoke clearly. "I am not perfect," he said. "I am only human, but I want peace. I want to help, and I am." Not afraid to try, Ireline looked at the council. "Logan has shown courage and truth. That is all I ask." The council made their decision. Logan had passed the trials. Some were happy, others angry, but the choice was made. Logan felt a great weight lift from his shoulders. He looked at Ireline, and for the first time he believed that maybe, just maybe, two worlds could come together after all. The next day, the palace was busy with preparations. Logan woke up feeling tired but hopeful. He had passed the Cirith trials, and everyone was talking about him and Queen Ireline. Some people said good things about him, but others still did not trust him. Logan tried to stay calm and focus on what was important. As the sun rose, Queen Ireline sent him a message. She asked him to meet her in the royal garden before the ceremony. When Logan arrived, Ireline was already there, looking at the flowers. She smiled when she saw him. "You did well in the trials," she said. "Many people are proud, and some are surprised. But you have given them something new to think about." Logan smiled back. "Thank you for trusting me. I only wanted to help." Ireline looked serious for a moment. "There are still those who wish to stop us. Some fear change, some fear losing power. We must be careful today." Logan nodded. He remembered Mira's warning about the nobles who wanted to ruin the ceremony. "I will watch for trouble," he promised Dot as they walked through the garden. Ireline told Logan about her dreams for her people. She wanted peace and friendship with other worlds. She wanted to see young Cirith children and human children play together. Logan listened and felt hope rise in his heart. Maybe they really could change the future. Soon it was time for the ceremony. Logan changed into the special robe given to him after the trials. He looked at himself in the mirror and barely recognized the person he saw. He was nervous but ready. The main hall was full of Cirith people and human visitors. Everyone waited to see what would happen. Queen Ireline stood at the front of the hall, tall and proud. The council members sat around her. Logan walked up and stood beside her. The head of the council, a wise old woman named Vera, spoke first. She told the story of the trials and explained why Logan was there. Then she turned to Ireline. "Queen Ireline, you have the right to choose. Do you accept Logan Price as a symbol of union and peace?" Ireline did not answer right away. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of her people. She saw doubt and fear, but also hope. Then she turned to Logan. "Wait, was that an offer?" she asked in a loud, playful voice. The whole hall grew quiet. Logan felt his face get warm. He remembered the first time he had joked about a dinner date. Now the whole Cirith court was watching him. He took a deep breath and nodded. Double quotes. "Yes." He said softly, but his voice was steady. "It is an offer. I want to help build peace between our worlds." Ireline's laugh filled the room. It was bright and strong. "All right, I accept," she said. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the hall exploded with noise. Some Cirith nobles stood up in anger. Others cheered and clapped. The human envoys looked at each other, not sure what to do. Logan saw Nora, Mitchell watching from the side. She gave him a small smile, proud but worried. The ceremony continued with music and speeches. Ireline took Logan's hand and raised it high. "This is a new beginning," she announced. "From this day, let our worlds learn from each other. Let us build trust, even when it is hard." Outside the hall, a small group of angry nobles tried to cause trouble, just as Mira had warned. But Ireline's loyal guards stopped them before they could do anything. The plan to embarrass Logan failed. Instead, the ceremony became a true celebration. After the ceremony, Logan and Ireline walked together in the garden. People came up to them, asking questions and offering kind words. Not everyone was happy, but many were curious. Some even smiled. Logan felt relief and joy. He was still a little afraid of what would happen next, but he was proud too. He had not given up, even when things were hard. He had shown the Cirith that humans could be strong and honest. Ireline squeezed his hand. You have changed many. Mine's today. Some will still fight us, but others will join us. Logan looked at her and smiled. We will face whatever comes together. As the stars began to shine over the palace, Logan thought about how much had changed. He remembered when he first arrived, unsure and alone. Now, he had friends, and maybe even something more. Ireline was not just a queen. She was someone he trusted and cared for. He knew that this was only the beginning. There would be many challenges ahead, and some people would try to break the new bond. But he also knew that hope was stronger than fear. With Ireline by his side, Logan was ready for whatever came next. He looked at the sky and thought about Earth and Varixa, two very different worlds now connected by a simple offer and an honest answer. And for the first time, Logan truly believed that together they could build a better future. After the ceremony, things started to change for both worlds. The news of the union between Queen Ireline and Logan spread quickly, not only across the planet Varixa, but also to Earth. Some people celebrated the new bond, while others were unsure, or even angry. Logan was not surprised. He knew that big changes always brought both hope and fear. In the days that followed, Logan and Ireline worked together to build trust between their peoples. The first step was to start a cultural exchange program. Young Cirith students were chosen to visit Earth, and a group of human students came to Varixa. There were welcome parties and lessons about each other's languages and customs. At first, many were shy and made mistakes, but laughter often followed. Slowly, the barriers began to fall. Logan spent time helping the human team understand Cirith ways. He showed them the right words to use and taught them about Cirith food, games, and art. He also listened to their worries. Some humans were afraid of making mistakes or being rejected. Logan told them it was normal to feel that way. He explained how he also felt unsure at first, but he learned by listening and showing respect. Ireline worked just as hard. She spoke to her council and the Cirith people. She answered their questions and was honest about her own fears. Change is difficult, she said in one speech, but sometimes the only way to grow is to take a step into the unknown. Many young Cirith started to support her, inspired by her words. Logan and Ireline also faced problems. Some Cirith nobles still wanted to keep the old traditions. They said that trusting humans was dangerous. They tried to block the new programs and spread rumors about Logan. On Earth, a few leaders said that humans should not trust aliens so quickly. Logan and Ireline did not give up. They met with their critics, listened to their worries, and promised to move forward carefully. The hardest day came when an accident happened at one of the exchange centers. A small fire broke out during a festival. Some people blamed the visitors, and fear spread fast. Logan and Ireline went there together. They helped the injured and spoke calmly to the crowd. Logan explained that it was not anyone's fault, just a mistake with the festival lights. He asked everyone to stay calm and trust each other. Ireline's voice was steady as she promised to fix the damage and support those who lost things in the fire. Slowly, the fear faded, and people started working together to clean up. After that, trust grew stronger. Cirith and human children played together in the palace gardens, chasing each other around the strange blue trees. Logan sometimes joined their games, and Ireline watched with a smile. They invited both Cirith and human families to dinners, where everyone shared stories and tried new foods. There was still confusion sometimes, but now people laughed about it and helped each other learn. One evening, Logan and Irene sat alone under the stars. The palace was quiet, and the air was cool. Logan looked at Irene and said, "Do you think we really changed anything?" Irene smiled. "We gave people hope. That is the beginning of every change." Logan nodded. He knew there would always be challenges. Some people would always hold on to fear. But now, there was a path between. Earth and Barixa, a path that was built on trust and friendship. As the weeks passed, Logan traveled with Irene to both worlds. Sometimes they were welcomed with cheers, sometimes with questions, but they were never alone. Everywhere they went, they saw signs of hope. A Cirrus child wore a human hat and laughed. A human teacher learned the Cirrus song and sang it with her. Class, small things, but important. Nora Mitchell, Logan's old superior, came to see one of the new schools. She found Logan sitting with a group of students, telling them about the first time he met Irene. Nora smiled and said, "You did well, Logan. I did not always believe this would work, but you proved me wrong." Logan was grateful for her words. He knew he had made mistakes along the way, but he had also learned and grown. He had found a friend, a partner, and a new purpose. Irene looked at Logan and took his hand. "We started as a misunderstanding, but we became a bridge between two worlds." Logan squeezed her hand gently. "We did it together." The story of Logan and Irene became known on both worlds. People told it to their children, not as a perfect tale, but as proof that trust and respect could change even the most unlikely. Future. Peace was not perfect, but it was real, and it grew every day. As the stars shone above the palace, Logan and Irene looked up and smiled. They knew that their work was not finished, but they were ready for whatever would come. Together, they had turned an uncertain offer into a shared hope for everyone.